So if you can identify who's your perfumer of one of your favorite fragrances, chances are they make another favorite fragrance. You just don't know that it's your favorite fragrance yet.
Yes. Is there really value in sniffing coffee beans in between fragrance sniffing?
I think it'll confuse your nose a bit more. So I like to use the inside of my elbow or just a clean sleeve to just sniff and reset my nose.
Because almost every writer has an interesting relationship with the olfactive world. So just like Oscar Wilde, we were just talking about, I mean, he considered himself an olfactive.
Tiff Benson is on a mission to educate, entertain, and inspire people to live a more beautiful, limitless, well-lived life. Believe it or not, she started out as an accountant and soon found that crunching numbers and overlooking Excel sheets wasn't exactly fulfilling her heart's desires. Based in New York City, Tiff has cultivated a loyal following of fragrance enthusiasts on social media and also represents some of the best-known beauty and lifestyle brands. How would you say, for a beginner, someone who's interested in fragrance and wants to expand out, how would you say they could begin their journey?
I first started realizing that that I had a fond appreciation for fragrance when I was a child, right? Like everyone has like that sense memory of, them hugging their moms or their grandmothers, and just saying, as a Black women love fragrance.
Love fragrance. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it really is, and like, I just remember like going over my grandmother's house and like opening up her cupboard and like seeing like different fragrances.
What was in there? What was in her cupboard?
Oh my gosh, what wasn't in there? A lot of Estee Lauder.
Yes.
Pleasures. YSL Paris. I'm trying to mentally go back right now. Dior Poison. Yeah, there was a lot in it. White Diamonds, which was like my second grade fragrance.
You had a second grade fragrance?
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. I went to private Catholic school and I would always like wear my mom's White Diamonds. I just thought it was fabulous.
That was your way of wearing a uniform because you had to, but adding your little accessory.
Yes. That's when I realized I love fragrance and I love diamonds.
It's your awakening.
Yeah, for sure.
Your fashion awakening.
So to answer your question, like, I think it's important to just realize that you have an appreciation for it and then just start discovering, just, start sampling, trying things out. One of the reasons why we love scent birds, right? Like you can try things out.
Yes. You don't have to buy that $500 bottle that you've been eyeing at the Bergdorf's counter or the Macy's counter. You could actually try fragrances. This is my shameless plug for Scentbird, but in light of not having smell-o-vision, like you're saying, there are a lot of venues digitally that have been opened up to us. If someone is going on a website, what is your advice for how they can kind of start to parse out which fragrance in this collection is right for them?
If you have a favorite perfumer, some of their creations, they're either similar or they have that DNA of the perfumer.
Like a style?
A style, for sure. Yeah. So like if some perfumers are known for the way that they handle gourmands, some gourmands and some perfumers are known for the way that they handle floral scents, or they're known for their light scents or deep dark scents. So if you can identify who's your perfumer of one of your favorite fragrances, chances are they make another favorite fragrance. You just don't know that it's your favorite fragrance yet.
Yes. And I love that, Scentbird is obviously a great place to explore and discover, but I'm starting to see more and more brands create these discovery kits too, which is really cool. So are there any other tips you have in this digital world of how they can find fragrances, or any other sneak tips? Like, you've already given us a great one by following the perfumers, but any other?
Definitely the notes, exploring notes. of your fragrances and seeing like if you own 3 fragrances and you check out the notes of your 3 fragrances that you own, there's going to be some similarities there.
Yes.
Maybe it's vanilla, maybe it's sandalwood, maybe it's like juniper berries. Who knows what it is?
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be a common thread there because you like that scent for a certain reason, right? So just try to pinpoint what the similarities are. Is it the notes that makes it similar? Is it the overall scent category? Is it a floral scent? Is it an aquatic scent? Is it a light scent? Certain brands tend to work like, you have your heavier brands.
Mm-hmm.
You have your lighter scented brands. I would just explore and just kind of be open and then recognize like, okay, just kind of make mental notes of like, okay, I like this note or this perfumer, I've heard of this perfumer before.
Yes. It's like finding a movie director that you like.
Yes. This scent category, I really like delicious gourmands. I like it. I like coffee scents or ice creamy scents or scents that say they have whipped cream. Like even if you find just because you find another scent that might have like whipped cream in it, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to like it, but it's just going to open up your nose palette and kind of let you experience something different,
I love the idea of opening up your nose palette. So, Tiff, would you like to play a game with me?
Absolutely.
Of course, it's related to fragrance. So what I'm going to do is name a very specific and potentially hilarious occasion, and you just name which fragrance you would wear for it or what type of fragrance you would wear. First impressions, like rapid fire.
Whew, I'll do my best.
Okay. What would you wear for a Mercury in retrograde?
I would say Molecule 01 because that is my go-to when things are literally falling apart.
Yes. And what a world we're in right now.
Yes.
What would you wear when you're going out for a dinner with your husband or your significant other to Carbone specifically?
Wow. Let me think. I've been loving Delina Exclusive from Parfum de Marly. It's a florally sweet fragrance that has lovely sillage. So I like that one a lot.
Let you linger.
Oh, yes.
As you're eating delicious pastas at a New York hotspot with someone you love.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. What would you wear to negotiate your influencer rate with a major retailer or brand?
I would definitely come in the room with a powerhouse fragrance like a Chanel No. 5, a classic. She's bossy.
She is.
She's not taking any sort of deal just because it's appropriate for the brand. She means well too.
Yes, she knows her worth.
She definitely does. She's been around for years. And she also knows how to get the job done for hours and hours on end. So I love that one, Chanel No. 5.
I love that.
You could even do low, Chanel No. 5 low, or the EDP, EDT. They are great.
They are all great and iconic and distinct.
Yep.
Love it. What would you wear to meet Vice President Kamala Harris?
Oh my. I'd probably wear Mojave Ghost from Byredo because she's light, but she's also mysterious. She's also just very wearable and inviting, but she doesn't have too much presence to her in the sense that she's not going to fill a room. She's going to be very polite.
Yes.
But the way that fragrances wear, the way that particular fragrance wears on the skin, it's very telling of who you are as a person. It's pretty unique. I like that one a lot.
Yes. I love that. What would you wear to a salsa dancing competition in May?
Okay. So this is an easy one for me. I would wear clean, warm cotton. That was like my favorite fragrance to wear back then because it's light, it's fresh, and it smells clean.
Wow.
Yeah.
And lastly, What would you wear to meet up with Whitney Williams again? She's reached out to you and said, I would like you to extend the internship that you had with me to now work on the Wendy Williams show. And she means business.
I would probably wear Bond number 9, Coney Island. That one is an interesting scent because it has like chocolate and like I believe mojito and like rum. It's like a mixture of not mojito, chocolate, I think margarita mix.
Ooh.
So it's a playfully Brooklyn, it's from Brooklyn, Coney Island, but it's so reminiscent of a time where it was all about fun and having a nice drink and getting the job done in like these like really interesting spaces. And Coney Island by Bond number 9 just embodies that for me. And she also likes Bond number 9 as well too.
Oh, perfect. I love it. Thanks for playing.
John is a creative director with a focus on digital marketing and branding. His passion for fragrance inspired him to start talking about it on TikTok. He's now one of the most popular influencers in our space, often known as the Whiff Wizard. Now we're going to shift gears and focus on some of your frequently asked questions, especially for beginners and people that are just now starting their scent journey that you get asked a lot through TikTok. One of the first of them being the ingredients. I really want to dig in there. We've talked a lot about the ingredients, but how did your love for ingredients start? How do you kind of pick and choose what ingredients are in what fragrances?
Yeah, so I usually start with what's being marketed, and sometimes what's being marketed is a great representation of the fragrances. Now, there is that whole trend of more transparency, so you'll have the marketed notes of musk, but then on the transparency side, when you go through ingredients list, you'll see they're using a cashmere musk, which, by the way, is one of my favorite scents. I have it was one of my favorite ingredients to use or work with whenever I was making my perfumes at home.
And how do you think the marketed notes affect the smell?
It helps the consumers or people who just are out shopping visualize a lot better. So if you like something that's powdery or something that smells soapy, maybe you won't be able to associate things like ambrette with something that's a clean musk. Or if you like something that's sharper, that's woody, you'll stick to cedars. Or if you want something that's smoother or nuttier, you'll have that visualization that sandalwood is that best representation for what you like.
Okay, that's so cool. I think that there's so many cool ingredients out there in a lot of different fragrances. What was it like for you early on to start practicing this way of smelling notes in fragrances and different ingredients in fragrances?
It was probably a journey that was exhaustive on the nose. So initially, early on, whenever I was relying less on the marketed notes, I was doing a lot more cabinet research. So I have a cabinet full of man-made materials, different essential oils, and just blends. And which is really rewarding whenever you find out that, yes, this smells like manzanite, which is going to be like that apple cider pineapple note, but it is also the most exhaustive on the nose. So now I just go off I'm just going to go on a wing and I say, this smells like this type of musk. And if I'm off by, the name of it or the style of it, I want to say this is kind of what I think based off my experience with ingredients is.
Awesome. Is there a right and a wrong way to smell perfume?
It's hard to say because everyone wants to experience something differently because part of enjoying fragrances is, making it your own. So I would say I like to use a mix of both pulse points when smelling. So if I'm smelling something, I'll test it on a skin like the back of my hand if I'm at the store. And then also use paper. Paper is a great way to test longevity. I'll put something in my pocket and I'll see if the next day I could still smell it or what base notes smell the strongest.
Speaking of being at the store, I know that a lot of stores have coffee beans to quote unquote reset your nose. do you have any thoughts about coffee beans, and is there really value in sniffing coffee beans in between fragrance sniffing?
I think it may cause more confusion, like olfactively, if you're smelling fragrances that have an overlap of something similar or like nearby the coffee scent, because that's not always the case where you're going to jump from different fragrance families, like a citrus fresh to a spicy woody. And so if you like something that's two vanilla based fragrances and you're using and if any of them have like subtleties of coffee, I think it'll confuse your nose a bit more. So I like to use the inside of my elbow or just a clean sleeve to just sniff and reset my nose. Probably use the coffee beans, not often.
Got it. Is there a
Mm.
best way to shop for fragrance?
So lately I've been all over TikTok. TikTok content creators are great resources. Looking up the fragrances beforehand, I try to at least boil it down to 5 to sample on paper and then leave the store with 2 on skin. And then after that, I get the opinion of people I care about the most, my wife and my son, although his opinion is everything smells good.
Oh, I like that. I love kind of looping it
Mhm.
in too, because it's fragrance. There's a lot of psychology behind fragrance, and a lot of people think that people wear fragrance for other people, but studies show that fragrance is worn for themselves. Women wear fragrance a lot more for themselves versus other people, and men wear it more so for other people to comment on versus for themselves. And I just think that that's a really cool
You nailed me. Yeah, you got me.
I just think there's so much into the psychology. One day we should interview a psychologist that specializes in fragrance, because there's just so much to smell and fragrance and how it relates to the way we behave and that sort of thing. So I think it's really, really cool. And another interesting fact is during the pandemic, fragrance was purchased more, and fragrance sales went up and through the roof during the pandemic, because people wanted to start smelling good for themselves. They wanted that sense of normalcy to kind of wake up, put on their fragrance and take on the day, even though they were staying at home most of the time. And fragrance is a mood booster, like you've said a lot during the podcast. So it's just really cool to see like how different people shop for fragrance and how they kind of test on their friends or their family or even what they feel about themselves when they wear it home.
Yeah, and what's cool is one of the earlier fragrances I tested, Paco Rabanne's Phantom, that was one of the ones that as part of like the launch, they showed about how they used AI and neuroscience and like
What?
between men. I want to guess it was men between the age of 25 to 35. And I'm like going off memory, but essentially it was related to like the most repeated feelings after smelling this fragrance based off of neuroscience studies was like energizing, mood lifting, and I think confidence. I'm kind of like going off of a memory, but that's pretty cool to know that a fragrance affects people's minds similarly.
I love that. That's super awesome. What are your thoughts on masculine versus feminine compositions?
Yeah, so that's like a very tough topic to tackle because usually when we talk about masculine versus feminine fragrances, I'm usually talking about stylistically, um, historically, usually florals or softer fragrances, a little bit more powdery. And historically, men's fragrances or more masculine were um, sharper woods, darker resins. But, I don't want to say that this isn't something that you should use as like a rule for your personal self to be bound by. I think there's the historical aspect, and then there's like the perfume brief aspect because some fragrances do celebrate the independence or the the freedom of a specific person. I think like an example is Burberry Her. I think they had a specific model in mind and like the independence of like a Londoner. And so there's like the aspect of feminine perfume brief, feminine stylistically, historically. But that's not to say that you can't wear what you like and what you want because as someone who reviews both cologne and perfumes, you really just wear what you want to enjoy.
Exactly. There are no rules. I think I keep reiterating this because fragrance is meant to be fun. It is fun. It makes you happy. You can experiment. And what's the worst that can happen? you don't like the smell, then you can just wash it off or it'll fade away eventually. So I think that's what's so fun about fragrance is there's really no right or wrong or yes or no. It's not black and white.
Yeah, and what's funny is since I do review some women's fragrances or just women marketed fragrances, I'm a lot more often in the women's aisle in the Sephora or Ulta's, and I'll ask, "Hey, do y'all have the latest flower bomb?" And they'll look on their tablet. I don't think we have a new men's flower bomb. It's like, no, I'm looking for the women marketed flower bomb, the next one. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I could help you with that.
There's a reason Emelia goes by Professor Perfume, and that's because she used to be an English professor before she became a TikTok star. She was writing her dissertation for her master's when she realized she kept connecting her reading to fragrance. That spark ultimately inspired her journey in content creation, where she brings together fragrance, beauty, and obviously literature. So, Emelia, obviously you sort of are my big sister TikTok scent just mastermind. And it's amazing because I feel like I was a literary major. And so everything that you talk about on TikTok is somehow wrapped into not only the book I'm reading, but also what I'm smelling, which is so niche. And you've somehow grown this gorgeous following from it. And I would just love to know how this sort of started, that you were going from a professor to a TikToker.
When you say it out loud like that, sometimes I have to take a moment because I'm like, that's really the path that my life is on right now. But yeah, so I started TikTok when I was finishing my master's program. I did my master's degree at Trinity College in Ireland. My master's is in Irish writing.
Wow.
And I did my undergrad in lit and sociology. So I'm completely an English kid, always have been, always will be. And instead of, I guess when I was writing my dissertation for my master's degree, oh my gosh, what a grueling process. I needed an escape. So that's when I sort of got into fragrance. And then I was thinking about, applying to doctorate programs and jobs, and I was never hearing anything back, or I was getting rejected. I couldn't even get an interview for a job, because everybody wants to be an English professor. And especially at the height of the pandemic, it was impossible really to find a job. So I was lucky enough to, at the tail end, the day after I got my master's degree, this is in December of 2019, my undergraduate university needed someone to come on and teach an online course in like an LAR 101, basically like essay writing course.
Kind of perfect timing.
It was kind of perfect timing. And so I was lucky enough to get that gig. But that was the exact same time that I started TikTok. And so it was so wild to me to watch something that I just started take off the way that it did.
Yeah, wow.
Something
that I
had
also
been
getting this like job, this brand new career.
Something that I've, worked for and had been my ambition my whole life was to be an English professor. And so I taught one semester of this intro to writing course before I could quit, basically, and go full-time content creation. So I think I've had more fun. I love teaching. I love academia. I love literature. And I know that probably at some point in my life, I will go back and get my doctorate and probably be the crazy English professor. But for right now, I mean, gosh, school is always there. You can always go back to school. You can't be a perfume TikToker forever. So I'm just sort of writing.
That could be you one day. Ditch being a professor.
Yeah.
Emelia, are you reading anything right now?
Right now, I'm actually reading this fantastic anthology called Sense and Sensibility, which is all about perfume in Victorian literature.
It sounds like you wrote it.
It's amazing. It's so good. It's perfect.
That's so fun.
I was looking, I'm sort of toying with the idea of doing a PhD in marrying the two, scent and literature. So I'm kind of, halfway putting the effort in and reading these things. But I saw Sense and Sensibility was the title, and I was like, oh
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's for me. She wrote this for me.
Yeah,
This is
gift.
perfect.
It's a gift to me.
What a gift. No, it's amazing. And it references, I've read 2 of the essays now, and it's all about like Oscar Wilde and P.B. Shelley.
So
I like calling him P.B. Shelley. But
Yeah.
I mean, I do the research, I do the work, I read the books, I obsessively go through them, right? And I'm like, okay, where are all of the scent references? Because in literature, well, okay, it really depends. But in literature, scent is so rampant in works of literature, and you just have to look for it.
Definitely.
Because almost every writer has an interesting relationship with the olfactive world. So just like Oscar Wilde, we were just talking about. I mean, he considered himself an olfactive, and he was this decadent writer, and he was so, aloft with the world of scent. So then when you go back in books like Dorian Gray, there's all sorts of references to scent, and it is so honestly magical to go back and revisit these works of art now that I have this experience in perfume, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like a little treat to go back and reread these and find a new magical thing about them every time. So
I can imagine it changes the way you experience these books completely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Just
mean, you
gives
never
you a new reference point.
Yeah, because you're thinking about it like as a literature student, you're thinking about it in terms of like, oh, but what does this mean? What is this provoking? What is this, what's this a metaphor for? Is this the great societal question or something like that? It's just fun to go back and say, oh my gosh, I think this guy smelled like aromatic herbals. It's so fun.
He would have loved Le Labo, that Oscar Wilde.
He would have loved Le Labo, honestly.
That is hilarious. What is one thing that you want your TikTok viewers who are so used to watching your videos and reading your recommended books and just smelling the fragrances that you're always talking about to really take away from their own fragrance journey?
Wow. I don't know. I mean, I guess just like look at what fun we're having. Aren't we having so much fun on this little journey together? My favorite part of being a TikTok creator and being able to do this full time is to interact with my audience and my followers. And I've met so many fantastic people through the app. And whenever I've gotten to interact with my followers, it has been so amazing. They've either been so sweet, like some of their comments will bring me to tears with how sweet they are. I had a mom message me that, she went out and bought 1111 for her daughter who just hasn't liked the smell of anything, but she tried it on my recommendation and loved it. And it was the first time she ever had, and I'm just like in tears. And people are like, oh, I followed you from the start. And that's so weird to me because I almost have imposter syndrome about being a creator. So it's like, oh, you've been following me from the start. That is so crazy to me. And then I realized, I am at 240,000 followers. That's a lot of people watching.
Totally.
And then I forget it. I totally forget about it because I do feel like I'm talking to my best friends whenever I, put the camera up. So I think just come on, let's keep going. Let's keep doing this. It's been so fun to do it together. And I want us to just keep going and keep building fragrance, keep building our collections and keep finding new ways to explore fragrance and new ways to discover fragrance. And I love it when they give me recommendations. I love giving them recommendations. I think we are just such an amazing little fragrance family. I'm so grateful for the audience that I have and for the folks that keep watching my stuff. It blows me away. It really does. I'm just so grateful for all of them, and they're amazing.
Well, speaking as one of your viewers, thank you too, because seriously, your channel, I feel like has just informed and it's been fun and it's really taken everyone down this journey together. So, Emelia, thank you.
Thank you.
This was so fun. It was really nice to virtually meet you and get to talk to you all about these fragrances. I know at Scentbird, you're like this god that we all look up to. So it was really cool to get to be the one who got to talk to you today.
I love all of you at Scentbird. You are amazing. Fantastic team.